I'm gonna start this video off by saying two things. One, I'm not really used to recording anything, so the audio balancing is probably a bit off. I'm gonna be real, it might be a little bit too quiet, it might be a little too loud. At the start of this video, I had my washing machine or my dryer running, so you might hear that in the background. My bad, but I'm not re-recording everything because of that. I'm hoping to get better as I'm learning how to do all the audio stuff as I record more videos, but take a little bit of pity on me. I don't know how to do all these things yet. Thank you. Enjoy the video. You know why you're here. It's time trials. Don't judge my times too harshly. I haven't really time trialed most of these. I've only done like a handful like practice. I'm not gonna do the Crossworlds in this video. I'll save that for a different one and then maybe put them together. Or if they've changed after a while, I might do that. I wanted to do day one, but I had some other stuff that made me not want to record reacting to these. Also, because around that time there have been a couple instances of cheaters being on the time trials boards, so I'll try not to have any cheated ghosts that I'm reacting to, but I mean, that's just how it goes. Sometimes you don't even know for some of them. Most of the ones I've seen have been blatant, but there might be a couple who sneak through the cracks. Okay, so first we have everyone's favorite track, E-Stadium. Oh boy. I'm not gonna blame you if you skip past this first Grand Prix, because I'm pretty sure everybody is pretty sick of the demo stages and beta stages by now. Unless that's just me, that might just be me. But yeah, first off, going for this cut. It's not really anything surprising, it's nothing we've seen before. But one thing I kind of want to point out with it that shows up in some of the other tracks. I don't know all of the time trials because I haven't. This is also interesting, doing this to get up to 100 rings. But yeah, that's one thing. I haven't seen a lot of the time trials, but I've seen a handful of them. And from what I've noticed is that, also world records on time trials, what I've noticed is that tracks like these that have off-roads right near the front, you're gonna see people using the off-road ring game thing. And then speed boost when you get rings. That's what I've been seeing a lot. That's what I've done on Crystal Mine, for instance, with the gap jump. It doesn't work on other stages as well if they don't really have that much off-road near the start. It's still decent, but it's not that good. But yeah, I haven't really been paying much attention to the record because this is just pretty standard. But I think everything's been normal. I'm interested to see what they do here. Okay, yeah, they take the boost. Because I've been thinking about it, I feel like that might be a little bit slower to do it that way, just because you have to go so wide. But I mean, if the world record at this point is still doing it, then I'm gonna guess, yeah. That is a good line with the drift there. I've tried to do that, and I always mess up, fall off the ramp. But yeah, pretty standard record. I mean, it's still impressive that they've gotten the time down, but it's just something we've seen so many times. Okay, next, Rainbow Garden. I'm gonna be real, I also don't really care too much about seeing this record, but I mean, if we're doing all of them, we gotta see all of them. But yeah, I'm trying to think of anything to talk about with this boring ass track aside from the track itself. I feel like I'm being a bit too harsh, but I don't know. Rainbow Garden has never been my favorite, even in the betas and demos. They did do that flying section pretty impressive, though, I have to admit. It looks like they're gonna be doing the last off-road cut with their wisps, which when I was time trialing it, I don't think that's what I was doing. Okay, interesting. They actually went on the flower bed. There is interesting stuff to this. I knew you could do that, but I didn't think it would be faster, but I guess it gets you a line for a better line. Okay, so they use a wisp here too. That's a little bit confusing to me, but I don't know. I mean, there's 4 wisps, so the other 2 laps will probably only use it on one of them. At least I think there's 4 wisps on every track. I'm not 100% guaranteed about that, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. And then like the final one shows up. Okay. Interested to see what they'll do again here. Although it seems like snaking when you have like the drift up kit is like just optimal whenever you do it. Which is odd because whenever I've been trying, I feel like snaking has been making me slower, but I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. Also, I want to point out their flying is really clean and smooth. That's one thing that I haven't been fully able to get down yet, is like flying and being able to get the boosts. And like for instance in stuff like Crystal Mine, I feel like boosting normally made me slower than a lot of the ghosts when I was like drifting up and down, but I don't know, maybe I'm just not doing it right. Base standard record, I talked about pretty much everything that wasn't the record during most of that, but you know, it's Rainbow Garden, what are you gonna do? Now Water Palace. One thing that I've also noticed, this is something that I've also been using, like, unintentionally. I'm not trying to follow the meta, but what I've been using is Blaze in the handling car, specifically the Silvers one. I don't know what it's called, but like, the one this world record is using. And correct me if I'm wrong, I'll put the stats up on the screen, but I'm pretty sure Blaze and Shadow have the exact same stats. So the Shadow or Blaze in this handling car seems to be like the best. That is a very clean corner take. That corner, if you're holding the acceleration, you just can't do it. You gotta like take your finger off the accelerator for that. It feels really nice when you do it though. This track I'm a little bit more interested in than E-Stadium and Rainbow Garden. There's just something about it. I think the water section too especially, it just is a lot, there's a lot more to see than in those other two. It feels less standard. They're also avoiding that one wisp like for the life of them. I don't know if it's to get the ring, but they don't really have like a ring boost up. Also, speaking of gadgets, interesting gadget setup. It looks like most of the time trials are gonna be running like ring up. Ooh, that's interesting. They hit the thing there, they didn't get a trick. Interesting. So you could probably take this world record if you had better lines and just don't hit that. It's really wait, what was I saying? Oh yeah. Nope, I completely forgot I was saying, sorry. Still new to this recording. That was terrible. I'm gonna re-record this part, or not, I don't know. They got the wisp though, they got the wisp from that one spot. They're not going for the big wisp, which is like, on some of these tracks, going for the big wisp is just, does not seem like it at all. Yeah, they get the trick there. Yeah, you could definitely improve on this. Yeah, that was a good record. Okay, with Metal Harbor, we have the world record holder from E-Stadium also has this one, which is a little bit suspicious to me because I'm like, okay, did you actually get the world record or is there some kind of cheating going on here? I don't want to just automatically assume everyone online is cheating when they have multiple records, but just with what was happening like last week with I think his name was Ronaldo Zolo and what was the other one, Ridley, with those two going around and having like multiple world records, now every time I see two people with a world record, I'm like, my brain lights up like, oh, that's cheating, but I don't know, it seems standard unless they like tweak small numbers, but I don't know. Although the flying section was impressive, I have to admit, I gotta really learn how to do the flying sections better because I feel like anytime I try to spam the boost, I just fall behind. Also, another interesting thing about this track, I don't really know where the best spot is to spend your wisps. I mean, at the end here, but like, there's not really like a grass cutoff or anything like that, and they just normally use it there, which is interesting. I guess it's not a bad thing because you gotta take your finger off the accelerator to make that turn tight. So it makes sense, but I wonder if there's like a more optimal spot to use that. Also, it looks like the flying section is faster, which I feel like if you've played this track online or Grand Prix, whatever, you'll notice. Oh, they used the Wisp there. I don't know if that's lag or if that's where they used it, but that's interesting. That's weird. That's another thing, a problem I have with time trials. They're also not tricking here. I'm gonna assume that's, yeah, that's time trial lag. That's one thing they gotta work on fixing is, the time trial lag is... Okay, I don't think they use it on the thing. I think they used it beforehand, but because of the lag, it doesn't show. They've really got to fix that because that makes it really hard to tell what's going on a lot of the time. Okay, on Sand Road, we still have Shadow in the handling car. The Shadow handling car. I should probably learn what it's called. It's the one that looks like a Yeezy. But yeah, interesting. They're down a second from last week. Well, like launch day, not last week. Also, going up top there, that wasn't in some of the records before, and now it's in them now. So this is very interesting to see. I really wished I recorded this video sooner so I could compare like now to like a week before, but whatever. Interested to see what they do here, but also not really. They're not going for the shortcut. Okay. That is very interesting, because I felt like that was normally the, biggest cut, but I was just going off vibes. I mean, I guess this one is kind of bigger. You have to take that a lot wider. Online, it's probably still better to take that last shortcut, but in time trials at least. Also curious to see if they go on the water or if they stay on land, because I feel like water probably is faster. It feels faster, at least, especially online. I feel like I normally get passed if I ever try going on land instead. I'm really surprised about that though. I was like 100% for sure that last cut would be the fastest, but I guess now that I look at it, it's kind of dumb. They didn't save a boost for that, which is interesting. This record kind of just uses wisps whenever, which... Okay, yeah, they're going in the water, which is probably faster. You don't get the King Wisp boost, but, I mean, yeah, look at that. That's way faster. At least it looks like it. Yeah, I guess that's the... Oh, wait, no, the King Wisp is over here. Why did I think the King Wisp was... Oh, I think, because online, if you go on land, there's like a special... There's a special, item box. I think that's why. But pretty standard record. There's nothing crazy that is... changed too much since launch. Okay, it seems like the further we go, these time trials are being held by the same people. Because here we have Raijin again, who was the last world record holder for Sand Road. So very interesting. Again, I'm not gonna assume they're cheating just because they have the world record on multiple tracks, but it's just interesting that I don't know if they have enough time to master multiple tracks and nobody else is fully dedicating. That is one thing I have noticed. That was I think they hit the grass a little bit before they boosted, but I think that may just be a lag thing. Interesting also using both of those wisps on that. But I mean, I guess you got a lot of wisps to go. I also want to see what they do. Okay, yeah, they go bottom for the wisp now that they're 100. Actually, I wasn't paying attention first lap. They could have gone bottom both times. Yeah, they're going bottom here, getting the wisp. I wasn't fully paying attention. I was listening to what I was saying more than anything. They're going down here again. They're not going to take the grass cut. Oh, okay. No, you know what it is. They have the off-road ring booster. So they were doing that because it's a very long straight with off-road where they could just boost their rings up to 100. That's why. Colorful Mall is also so interesting to me because this track on its own it feels like there's a lot to it, but then once you time trial it or watch time trials, because my time trial is not this fast on Colorful Walks, I haven't practiced it. Um, it's really short. Like it's really not that long at all. Same with certain tracks like Crystal Mine, Mystic Jungle. Um, but yeah, decent. Like nothing surprising. Again, most of these beta tracks is just stuff that you've probably seen clips before. It's nothing super surprising, but yeah, it's a cool record. Alright, back to back to back, we have another world record from Raijin in the same car and gadget combo that we had on Colorful Mall. Interesting. Again, I'm not accusing, because maybe this guy is just the GOAT. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they're just that good. Interesting also that they go down there. Maybe that is faster. I'm interested to see what they do here, because this track has a lot of things that seem like bait. Let's see if they do the jump. No, they don't do the jump. I was thinking, like, you can do, like, the crossover from, like, one pipe to the other, and instinctually, I feel like most people start doing that and assume it's faster. But there's one time online where I didn't take it, and I was like, oh, that was really fast. Okay, taking that grass cut there. So yeah, it looks like taking that pipe might not actually be faster, but who knows, maybe it actually isn't, and this person just didn't do it. If they're taking the outside one for the wisp now, makes sense. They're gonna grab the wisp here? Yeah, they will. I wonder if anyone's ever gonna try taking that snake. There's probably been people who've tried to take that snake. I don't know if it's any faster or not, but it's interesting. It's so hard to, like, actually hit. I haven't actively tried to learn how to land on it, but okay, King Wisp, yeah, they kind of have to go for it. That one's kind of a freebie. They kind of give that one to you, unlike other tracks. Not as, like, surprising as I thought it would be. I don't know. I felt like Mystic Jungle, there's so much you could do with the physics that I felt like there might be a little bit more to it. But no, it's pretty standard. There were some cool things. Most of the cool things, though, were that they avoided the cool aspects to go faster, which I kind of already had a suspicion of, but, you know. Alright, now for Apotos, we got that same Blaze who had a world record on, I think it was E-Stadium and another track, I can't remember. But yeah, the same few people getting the world records, so, I mean, hey, they're just that good. Very interesting gadget setup here. Not taking the drift kit, not taking the upper path for the 20 rings, which I guess makes sense if you have off-road booster giving you rings. That makes a lot more sense to go there, especially with ring booster. You're gonna get a lot more speed going down there and less air. I'm surprised Apotos actually has such a cool, like, record so far, because online, I'm gonna be honest, this is one of my least favorite tracks. There's just nothing too special about it, in my opinion. But yeah, as I was saying before I got, like, distracted, interesting they're taking this path. Maybe it was just for the wisp, but as I was saying before, it's interesting to see. I feel like you don't see a lot of world records with all 6 gadget slots being used. I feel like a lot of people take that drift kit, which I feel like is kind of bait, if I'm being honest. I don't think the drift kit is as good as people say it is. Especially because I don't think it gives you anything towards level 3, just level 1 and 2 up. Which, if you just want level 1 and 2 up, if you take that counter charge gadget instead, look, I haven't ran the numbers, but I feel like you go a lot faster charging your boosts with counter charge. And you can keep your lines a lot more straight when you're doing that. Yeah, aside from lap 1 was surprising, but aside from that, it was pretty standard. It's just a Potos at the end of the day. But that lap 1 was very interesting. I was surprised. Okay, now on to quite possibly my favorite track in the game. I fucking love Wonder Museum. We have a new person at the top of the leaderboard using a new character. Can you believe it? I think his name was Mute2334 or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, they're playing Sonic. And look, literally last match, I was talking about counter drift. And here we are, someone using the counter drift. It's also impressive to see, there's a new gadget in here that I don't think I've seen anybody use online or in time trials before. Getting rings when you do a perfect drift. It looks like you only get like 6, which isn't a lot, but very interesting to take that, especially since you can't really take the off-road one, since here's the off-road right at the end of the track. You're giving up so much time if you're running that. Not going on the ramp, getting that wisp, that's a good idea. But yeah, look at how fast you can snake with this thing. Like, this thing is insane. I feel like Drift Kit is just not up to the same standard. But yeah, if you've tried to time trial Wonder Museum, that turn is... It's tough to get tight. But God, I love this track so much. The music, the setting, the lap 3 change, the curves and lines you gotta take. It's interesting they didn't drift off there. I don't know if that was a mistake intentional or if that's like a time trial thing where time trials isn't showing it because it's lagging. I'm gonna guess this time trial is just lagging. And that's one thing. I'm gonna assume they're hitting all level 2 like counter drifts there, because I mean there's only much you can infer. That's something that's really cool you can do about this map. I already knew about that, but when you can go past that dinosaur there and it doesn't count as off-road. They didn't take that one boost, which is weird. Is interesting. I mean, I guess they don't really need it, and you've got to go like needlessly wide. Yeah, are they gonna get King Wisp? They don't get King Wisp. Okay, interesting. Again, they're not gonna need it because I mean they still got this in the bag, but yeah, counter drift I feel like it really helps you there, because this record, there's like 2 records at the top, this one and another one, that are like 2 seconds above everybody else, and I feel like that's probably the counter drift difference. I actually want to check. Just don't judge my time. I haven't done it in a while. Yeah, they are like quite far under. And what's this guy using? Counter drift. Yep, same exact thing. And then yeah, no counter drift. Like counter drift seems like it is absolutely busted, and a lot of people just aren't on the wave with it yet. Now Crystal Mine, I'm so disappointed I didn't make this video sooner, because I really wanted to make this when I was number 1, but you snooze, you lose, or whatever. But this record, I feel like can be improved. For one, they're using that drift kit, which I feel like you can do better than that drift kit. You do kind of need handling on this track though. But yeah, Crystal Mine, when you're playing online, it isn't really anything too special, but when you're time trialing, this track is sick. This track is incredible. And you'll see why pretty soon if you haven't seen this yet. Is the gap jump there. It's so good. It's so cool. But yeah, boosting through the air, I found when I was trying to time trial this, boosting through the air normally slowed me down, so I don't really know what's going on there. And then yeah, this jump too, and then they brake on there so that they can get their line tight enough to grab that. In my record, I didn't take that jump on lap 1 because I found it way too difficult to slide off the truck and end up grabbing that wisp. And something actually interesting about Crystal Mine, and I don't want to speak for all of the time trials, they're not going to go for gap jump lap 2 by the way, I'm pretty sure it's only worth it on lap 1. Interesting thing, I don't want to speak about all time trials, but at least for Crystal Mine, the first 2 wisps are there lap 1, lap 2, and lap 3. The third wisp, and then the 4th wisp that's normally like right there, those actually disappear on lap 2 and lap 3. So if you don't pick those up, you don't get them. You just gotta not use them. You get less wisps. Which, I don't know if that's like that on every track. But it's interesting that it happens on this one. That's actually how I got my record at one point in time, because I noticed someone wasn't using all of the wisps. Also, interesting thing, the King Wisp, I don't know if you just saw it, but it was on the right side of the screen, right by that buzzsaw. When you're on supersonic speed, you're not grabbing that. It is way too slow to go out of your way to grab that just for the King Wisp. But then yeah, then they grab this by snaking. And then that's kind of why, they're not even snaking that much, but that could be a replay thing. This is one reason why I think this record could be improved. If they start bringing in that charge trick, or not charge trick, that counter drift thing, you are going to be like improving that a lot. Which I might even try taking this back, but oh, it's just it's so much effort. I don't know, I don't really want to. Okay, now Ocean View, we have that same blaze again. It's weird, we went a couple tracks without seeing that shadow or that blaze, but we're back again. And we're back on the drift kit. Which I feel like counter drift isn't going to be great for all tracks. Especially this one, because, I mean, right here you can't really counter drift. I just feel like there's better things you can take over drift kit. Also interesting, they have the lap 1 stats up, which I was running on some of my time trials, but I feel like it's not really that noticeable. I don't know, especially the plus 21 for how much space it takes. I feel like I don't really notice too much of a difference. Interesting, they take that cut, and they take that cut there, 2 of the grasses with 1 shroom, or sorry, 1 wisp. But yeah, standard turn here. And then yeah, they get this. That actually reminded me seeing that. When I try to do that trick, or not that trick, that shortcut online, if I'm not using a handling car, I can't do it. And then that reminded me that we have only seen handling cars, if I'm like remembering correctly, we've only been seeing handling cars, which makes sense. They did take the wisp there. I mean, I guess they don't need it, because they still have the King Wisp coming up, and they just need to go wide, or they don't need to go wide. But that's one thing, handling cars seem to be the best. They aren't slow, especially if you're using speed character. The handling is way more important than I feel like a lot of people give it credit for. Well, I mean, people are giving it credit for. You're seeing it right here. But, yeah, they're really good. The #1 online player in the world is using a handling car with a handling character. Most of the world records are using handling character or handling cars with speed characters. So it'll be interesting to see how long we can go in time trials without seeing any like boards or speed. I don't think we're gonna see any power and acceleration. Okay, now for Pumpkin Mansion, I think. I don't know why I'm forgetting the name of this track now. I think it's Pumpkin Mansion. We have, believe it or not, another handling character with speed car using the drift kit. I'm not trying to be overly negative when I'm saying all that, because like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a meta. Like, it doesn't make it that lame that they're using like what the best thing in the game is. It's not that bad. Interesting thing about this though, this world record and like the one right under it are 2 seconds above all of the other records. So I wonder what it is here that they do that nobody else does. Maybe it's just these cuts. Also interesting, they spend most of that lap at like 30 rings. So if you can find a way to get rings faster than them, like, I mean, they grabbed like the wisp instead of the rings at the start there, because they planned on taking those 2 cuts and then they went wide. But if you can find a way to get rings faster, you could probably take these world records if you're doing like the same strats. You probably don't want to be using the air trick for rings, because you don't really air trick until you hear, and then at that point you just boost and get the rings. It's also interesting they do that same thing again, because they don't really need the rings. So you think they would just focus on the better shortcut, whatever it is, which this one seems like a lot better. But I don't know, maybe they have enough with wisps. Maybe they get 2 wisps on this last lap, or maybe they just don't need it. I don't know where the King Wisp is on here. I don't really remember. But yeah, just honestly, I gotta be honest, this track is so disappointing to me. The aesthetic is cool, the music is sick. I like this invisible bridge, but I don't know what it is. This track is just kind of boring to me. I don't know. The time trial is cool. Like, I like those 2 grass cuts, but as a track in like online play and like just regular play, it's kind of just a little bit basic. But decent world record. I don't know how that's so much faster than the other world records. Maybe it's their builds. Maybe they're not snaking. I'm not gonna watch, but I actually want to. Cause yeah, they're like 2 seconds under. I mean, maybe it's drift kit. Maybe it's the fact that they used this double ring boost, which I feel like the double ring boost is kind of bait. It's not really that. And they did air trick on Pumpkin Mansion? Okay, whatever. But yeah, that's Pumpkin Mansion. Well. Who do we have but that same Blaze again? This Blaze is actually crazy. They're taking everything. They got Urban Canyon as well. I mean, they're not taking everything because that other Shadow has also taken a lot of things. Which, now that I mentioned, we haven't seen that Shadow in a while. Who knows though, maybe they've been playing the Crossworlds. Starting off drifting here a lot. Well, snaking, not drifting, you know what I mean. They get this grass cut. They don't have off-road gives rings. Interesting. This is a little bit weird to me. Like, again, I don't want to assume anything, but how has nobody done Urban Canyon and like replace that like lap 1 speed up with like off-road ring boost? Because I feel like if you're gonna take that so early, like, and then yeah, that they didn't take that tight at all. Maybe it's not worth it. That's also one thing I like and dislike about watching early world records is they take that again. Interesting. Is it really that good? But it's fun for me because you never really know. Okay, interesting. I don't know what they're doing here. This might be lag. I keep interrupting myself. I find it fun because you don't really know what, if someone is doing is the optimal play, or if what they're doing is what they think is the optimal play, and there's actually like so much room to improve. I think that's really fun. That's gonna go away in like a month from now, but for right now, the spot we're at, I think it's fun because it leads to a lot of thinking and experimentation. They cut that really tight, but they lost a lot of speed. They're losing a lot of speed there, but I mean, you know, I guess you gotta have to. You gotta lose speed. That's what I mean to say. Or maybe not. Maybe you could bring a Wisp in there. Interesting world record though. If I had to venture a guess, the reason we haven't seen any record better than this one yet is because who cares about Urban Canyon? I don't know if this is actually true or not, but I feel like most people don't really care about Urban Canyon, at least from my experience. Alright, back again with the back-to-back records. The same Blaze that we've been seeing for a lot of this video on Market Street. Now, again, it's kind of hard to tell because like, I don't know what a lot of people think about this game yet, but Market Street, for me, okay, that's cool. They take that there to get like a lot of the rings up. Market Street for me is a little bit boring. I don't know what it is about this track. I feel like I should like it. Feels a little too short. Even though it's like the same speed as like most of the other tracks in the game, if not a little bit shorter. There's like 2 tiers of lengths. There's like Colorful Mall, Mystic Jungle, and Market Street. And then there's some of the like longer ones like Colorful Mall. Not Colorful Mall, what am I saying? Wonder Museum. Okay, they don't go for the off-road cut there because they don't really need it because they have the rings. Which is interesting that they didn't do that on Urban Canyon then. But who knows? Left side roof just seems to be better. Go for the same off-road cut. I feel like that doesn't save a lot of time. But where else are you going to use it? On Market Street. Interested to see if they go up top. They don't grab the King Wisp. They don't go up top. I wonder if they cross over here. No, they cross over here, yeah. Yeah, this seems to be faster. They don't have a Wisp, though. I mean, there's a Wisp on right roof. They might go right roof. No, they just cut it all together because the Wisps don't really save that much time on this map. Cool to see. This is also another one I feel like in a week from now there's going to be improvements just because it seems like such a basic track, but there's probably something to it. Okay, believe it or not, we have our first non-speed character. There's still a handling car, but we have Miku, which she's basically like, she's like the same stats as like Cream, so I'm pretty sure she's like basically a handling character, even though she's called Boost. Coral Town is very interesting to see for a time trial. I want to see what they do here, because like, I mean, there's so many different routes you can take. I haven't taken this route before. What the? Okay, there's a gap jump. That's cool. That's really cool. This is probably why we're using Miku, so we can take that. And they also have a handling boost on their car, which, honestly, I don't know how good the boosts actually are. They're also using Lab 1 plus 20 stats. This is an interesting kit that they're running. You can grab the boost. Same route? I'm gonna assume same route, because I mean, if it's the fastest, why not? I want to see that. That is so cool. That is really, really sick. That saves a lot of time. I gotta learn how to do that. I want to do that online. And then, yeah, they take this. This is like a really big off-road. I don't know why they made it so big. But yeah, I'm gonna assume they don't do anything different on last lap. But we'll see. I feel like a lot of the lap 3 changes don't change a lot. They're not gonna take the portal, definitely not. It's so cool. I don't know, I've seen it already twice now, but I'm like, it's still just so sick. No, they're going for that portal. Weird, is it that much faster? That portal always felt a little bit slower, but I guess it's faster. That was a really fast record for Coral Town. I liked that one a lot. That was sick. Like, most of these records have not been crazy. There haven't been that many crazy things. But like the gap jump on Crystal Mine and then this gap jumps are like, they're nothing crazy for a kart racer. They're nothing super special. Like, they're in a lot of kart racing games. But whenever I see one, or whenever I find one and know how to do it, it's sick. I love it. Okay, Blizzard Valley. I still haven't decided how I feel about this track. But here we are again. It looks like this latter half is where we're seeing all the other characters, because we have another Miku. This is a different Miku, like not the same player, but like another person using Miku. Okay, interesting they do that there, mostly to get all the rings up. They probably could have stayed on that a little bit longer to get to 100, but who knows. This is one of those tracks where the traction gadget feels almost necessary at times, but I feel like as time goes on and people get better at the time trial, you're gonna see that gadget show up less, just because people are more used to all the turns and how the snow affects the traction and that wind. And not snaking here, despite the fact that they have the drifting gear. Interesting. I feel like if you have the drifting gear, it's worth it. Oh, I think they have the off-road there. But if you have the boosting gear, I feel like they're taking both cuts. That's sick. I feel like if you have the drifting gear, it's worth it to snake. Even if it doesn't feel like it. Like, I thought it didn't feel worth it, but I've seen the videos of people comparing, so I guess it is. But if you don't have that gadget, I don't know if it's really worth it. I don't know though. I don't want to speak concretely because I don't know the facts. They don't take that grass cut, which, I mean, I guess if you're getting a double cut, like just a little bit farther ahead, what's the point? Which I'm gonna assume they do it again. There's no reason not to. Didn't hit the off-road this time. Kept the boost the whole time. Yeah, they use it. You could probably take that a little tighter, but I mean, who knows? They have the world record on me. Get the King Wisp. That's so hard to hit. I don't know if anybody else feels the same way. I find that so hard to hit. Makes his turn. That turn's also really tight. That's one thing where I feel like this gadget, where it increases your traction, might always stay relevant for this track. Is I feel like that turn, even like without that gadget, it's so hard to stay off the off-road. That it might just be a skill issue though. I don't know. Radical Highway. This record, I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but this is very interesting from the gadget set off the start. For one, I'm pretty sure, unless I've missed something, this is our first speed-based car being used. And on Radical Highway, I mean, I guess there are quite a few straight lines on Radical Highway, and you're not drifting as much, you don't need the extra handling. But this is very interesting to see. And having this 2 speed ups, and then also having the ring boost on boost panels. This is a very interesting kit to be using, which I'm also gonna guess the speed type is so that they can hit this faster. Which, if you haven't seen that before, that's probably sick, but yeah. That cuts off a lot of airtime if you're doing like just the standard way. And it's pretty fun to go for online, but it's one of those things where I find it really hard to do in a handling car. And since I normally just stick to maining a handling car, it's not really worth it for me to swap over to speed, so I normally just stick the normal way. I should try learning it more consistently though. It's also very interesting how much they're hitting the wall there. Like, I mean, like, they're not using a handling car, so there's nothing you can really do about that, but I wonder if there will be a record, like someone takes this record using a handling car, or if it's gonna like remain like the rest of the meta is speed for this, just for the consistency of how it is to do this cut. But what someone learns to do with speed or with a handling car, is the extra speed you get on these straightaways really gonna be that worth it? I don't know. They also have 2 wisps saved up. I kind of missed where they picked up the second one. And yeah, not snaking here because it would not be worth it at all. Because you don't have like the gadget. At least I don't think it would be worth it. Yeah, hit the wall there still, but it doesn't seem like it really makes that much of a difference, even though you probably can make that tighter. They're losing some speed though there because they're not at 100 rings. And yeah, they don't go for King Wisp because why would you? That noise, hearing that in a run is probably really satisfying. Because it's satisfying watching it and hearing it. The like multiple ring boost sound and like the boost sound. But yeah, all things considered, fairly standard for Radical Highway. I was kind of expecting something else. But yeah, no, that rail cut is just, it's not really a cut, but like that rail ride is just really good. Okay, now on Shao Park, we are back to speed characters in handling cars. If anyone was missing it, don't worry, it's back. But yeah, standard setup, although we haven't seen much Sonic. Like, there's mostly been Blaze and Shadow, because like they have the higher boost stat. But Sonic is still not bad. I don't know what Metal Sonic stats are. Interesting he didn't go up top. I normally go up top there. It's probably faster not to. Tight turn. I don't know if Metal Sonic and Sonic have the same stats, but there's been a lot of... I'll put it up on the screen right now. But there's been a lot of Metal Sonic as well. Not a lot of Metal Sonic, like obviously Blaze and Shadow. They use it on the straightaway. The boost on the straightaway. I mean, I guess to be fair, there's nowhere else you really, I guess, could use it here. Maybe you could, and we just haven't found it. But using that boost on the straightaway, that's been something I've thought about sometimes, because, like, drifting or snaking isn't really that great, I feel, if you don't have the gadgets. I feel like you could run a tally of how many times I've said that in this video. It's probably like over 20 at this point. But I've been debating sometimes, like, oh, what if I just use, like, the Wisp on a straightaway? So it's interesting to see if someone using it. It is kind of weird that I feel like you could start drifting right before you do that and just get like a little bit of a drift boost to extend that. Might not be worth it for ruining your line though. Who knows? But it still doesn't go up top, which, I mean, I guess up top is just not as fast. Very interesting gadget setup as well. Getting the rings on tricking makes sense because like you have that part at the start where you're just tricking, so like you may as well. The handling gadget is surprising to me though. Maybe it's for that turn. I don't know. Because I feel like you don't really need handling on this track. But maybe they just like the handling control. I mean, I like the handling control. Okay, this is a weird record on Dawn Factory. I'm interested to see what they do here. But we have Rouge the Bat. I wasn't expecting to see Rouge at all. Now, I could be wrong here. I think she's either handling or acceleration. I don't know. I haven't really played Rouge that much. Because I can't stand her trick dialogue like everybody else. But I'm interested to see where they use the Wisp here. They use the Wisp there. You kind of need to first off-road when you're running rings up. They don't go on the side there, which makes sense. They need the Wisp. What do they do here? Oh, you could just like take your finger off the accelerator there for that. Cool, interesting. I feel like this track is a little bit underrated. I don't see many people talking about it, but it's really cool. Aesthetically, I don't care much about it, but actual gameplay-wise, I like it. I mean, there's a lot of cool things. I like dodging these. And then time trials. There's a lot of like creativity for like where you use the wisps. I feel at least. But yeah, I don't know if she's an acceleration or handling. If she's a handling character, which I'll put it up on the screen right now. I don't know if I already said that. Wow, that was really tight. Getting the bump there, I think, is actually maybe beneficial, because that was really tight. They took that. There's probably going to be improvement to this world record of someone just doing that on all 3 laps. But yeah, if she's a handling character, I'm not surprised to see she has a record, because at least from what we've been seeing from like online play. Now again, I don't know the specifics, like maybe the #1 player has been picking handling character because like power or whatever. I don't know what the handling stat has, but she's been using Amy, I think. So if she's a handling character, if Rouge is a handling character, I'm not surprised to see she's on the record. But if she's acceleration, I would be really shocked. Because I don't know what benefits you would get from using an acceleration character. I talked completely throughout that last part. I'm actually gonna rewatch this for the last lap. I'll cut to the last lap, but I just want to see what she's doing on the last lap. While I was editing, I realized there's not really the reason to put my reaction to the 3rd lap on here, but I didn't want to cut out the part saying I rewatched it. I rewatched it. It was standard. That's about all. Okay, now time for Aqua Road. I'm a big fan of Aqua Road. Also, I missed what car they're using. That looks like a speed car. And they're using speed up. Interesting. And air trick up. And air trick for rings. Which makes sense because, like, you're tricking quite a lot in the water here. Interesting take, though, for this stage. I mean, you don't really need boost up, because if you're like there, you're like drifting most of the time, but you're also boosting, so you don't really need the drift up. And then for these turns, the water's actually really interesting. Oh, okay, that was weird. The water's interesting because, like, despite the fact that some water sections you're gonna want to trick a lot, you don't really want to trick on this. Same with, like, Golden Capital or whatever it's called. And then, yeah, they just drive straight here. They're not built to snake at all. It's interesting to see the speed up gadget, though. I've seen it before, but I feel like I don't really... I mean, you don't really see people using it that often, just because it's so hard in on speed. It seems like it's doing decent on this track, though. Also, from a casual standpoint of, like, playing this track online and everything, God, I love this stage. I don't know what it is, it's just, it's so fun. This and, like, Wonder Museum are, like, in my top 5. And going straight here, I want to see if they take the ring shortcut, because I feel like the ring shortcut is really, really slow. Like, anytime I've used it, it's put me behind. But I want to see if that... Yeah, no, they don't do it. It's so... I don't know why... I don't know what the point of using that is. I mean, aside from the fact that I think online you get item. I don't even know if you get item there. I can't remember, because I stopped taking it. But yeah, as an actual record, this was a little bit just whatever, but the actual stage itself was just sick. At least for me. I like the stage a lot. But yeah, decent record, interesting gadget setup. Or it's stages like these where I can't imagine counter drift being like hard meta. Like, and that's one thing I like about the gadget system, is that despite the fact that like eventually it's gonna be kind of a one shape fits all kind of thing, where like you're gonna want to use the same gadgets for most tracks, there's still tracks like these where I don't think there's any feasible way that counter drift or even drift kit in general could be like the fastest time on this track, just because you don't... Well, for one, you can't counter drift for half that stage, and then two, you're not really needing to spam the drift unless someone finds like something with the jumps in the water where you have to spam, unless someone finds something like that. Okay, I don't want to be assuming here, but I think we may have found our first hacker of the day. Again, we could have been watching some this whole time, and I just didn't even notice, especially because anything suspicious can be pointed to, like, lag or anything. But this guy's quite a bit farther down on the times here, and using Omega in a speed car, power character on time trials, which is already weird, speed kit, ring grabber. I'm just gonna say be skeptical going into it, but don't be assuming the worst, I guess. But it's just a little funny to me. So we'll see what they do. Another thing that's really funny is one of the last cheaters, who I'm pretty sure has been banned because like the records are down, was named Zolo. Which is the English name for Zoro from One Piece in like Viz Media translations. And now the fact that this world record is Zolo, they are going so fast here. I might be crazy. I'll need you guys in the comments to tell me if I'm crazy or not. But are they not going a little bit too fast? Like, this might just be a replay thing, but are they not going a little bit too quick? Like, speed cars are not slow, don't get me wrong, but like, compare this to Aqua Road from last game, who was also using a speed car on a speed character. Actually, I think they were using a speed car I'll put it on the screen if I'm right or wrong. With the speed gadget, and they did not seem like they were going as fast on straightaways. Again, I could just be wrong. I'm just going off my like first impressions. I'm not like analyzing frame by frame going time, but this seems really quick. I don't know, like, okay, they get that. I'm not gonna say if that's impressive or not until I know if they're like cheating. Again, I hate assuming that, but like, come on. How are you this far down and you're not doing any crazy skips? I knew it, the straight line there. There wasn't really much to add. And then, this tunnel is actually, that's one thing I gotta say, even if this guy is cheating and like adjusting speed, which again, I don't want to assume, but they still do take that really clean. Like, that water section is really difficult, at least for me, to get down really fast. But yeah, interesting time trial there. Again, I don't assume, I'm not gonna assume, but I'll be sure to check back on Eggman Expo to see if that record is still there in like a day from now. Okay, on to the last cup. At least for this video, I'll do the Crossworlds in a different video. We have, don't know the full name of this player. It's SV Stars something. They've been putting up well, not putting up actual records. They had the record on Sandbro like a couple days ago. But they've been on the time trial leaderboards. They haven't been number 1 on anything in this video, but like they've been there on the leaderboards, like 6th on some levels. I don't know exactly, but like they've been around, so it's cool to see that they have their own record. And again, using counter drift and also using the bumper gadget that makes you not lose rings when you take a hit, which is interesting for time trials. I feel like for time trials it's not really a useful one, but we'll see. Pretty standard so far, and they use that so far back. They took that clean. Okay, that's one thing. The bumper gadget, there's no rings from like where they are right now for like so far, where they would have been at 98 rings if they didn't use that bumping gadget. So it's actually like not a bad idea at all. This is actually really smart. Yeah, pretty standard here. Counter drift right there. I feel like counter drift isn't the greatest for this stage. Just because like there's some like those really long turns, but then there's stuff like this where like you're not doing that on drift kit. And then right here you can sneak out some level 2s. Now, oh my god, look at that. That was so clean. This is a really good gadget setup and record. I like this a lot. Their line on that road is very weird. Like, not in a bad way, just in a I've never seen anybody take it like that. I normally see... Oh, interesting. I don't know if that was a mess up or intentional. But yeah, I normally see people either take the ramp for like the item box online, obviously, or go over on the left. I don't see that many people go on the right. But yeah, they do this squid turn really good. They're not going to get any of the boost from Ashura or whatever its name is. And then yeah, that was a really nice turn at the end. Yo, props to this player. SV whatever. Even if I don't know how to pronounce her name. That's a cool world record. I like that one. A cool gadget setup. That world record is one where I'm like, their gadget setup and the gadget system in general just made that like probably so much harder to get the world record for, and is probably gonna make it really harder to take from someone without just copying or coming up with your like own new one. Like, I don't know. I don't actually know what I'm trying to say. I'm rambling. Okay, now North Star Island. This is one that I did try at one point to get the record for, but I couldn't beat the top guy. Interested to see what they do though, because there's a lot of different things you could do or take. Yeah, snaking right off the start. Not using counter drift though. But yeah, interesting gadget set. They're running the rings off-road. I wonder if they're gonna go off-road here. This is normally what I was doing. No, they don't. They do, but they do it so late. Okay, I wonder if you can improve this one. I feel like you might be able to improve this one. Just because they go off-road so late there, and they can get so many more rings. Like, they're not even at 100 right now. Time trials actually make this super interesting. I don't know if you could tell, but they took their finger off the accelerator there to slow down so that they would get that wisp. Getting the wisps on this and, like, remaining consistent speed with that bouncing thing is actually really, really difficult, I find at least. Like, since it's only going off at a certain time, you gotta, like, be considerate. Oh, they missed the wisp there. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but, interesting decision. It also seems like they value the last shortcut a lot. Actually, no, they did miss that on purpose, because they're gonna take this and get this wisp. That's why. They could have drifted there, but, like, whatever. I'm just nitpicking their gameplay at this point. Seems like they value this shortcut more, though, but it could just be because they wanted that other wisp. I don't really fully know. I don't want to assume. But yeah, I want to see if they go on the left side of the crab. No, they don't go on the left side. They take that so wide. Yeah, you can improve this record 100%. If there's anybody out there who wants to take this world record, go ahead, because there's a lot of things you could, like, cut here. And then you have to take that. I want to see if they go for the King Wisp, because... No, they don't yet. That shit is not worth it. They don't drift on those. You could get a little bit... Oh! Nah, that might just be lag. I don't know if they got hit there or not. Nah, I think that's just lag. I don't think they actually got hit there. But yeah, no, that's a good time. That's one of those tracks that's, like, basically the only way to improve it is, like, just going tight or taking, like, a different shortcut. But I feel like you could definitely hard improve that one, especially with, no shame to this player, by the way. I'm not saying that they're bad for not doing those things. It's easy for me to sit here and go, oh, this would be better. But then, like, I mean, if I go back to course select, like, they're at 207, I'm at 209. So, like, they know how to play the game in a way that I don't know, so I'm not trying to hate. I'm just being like, I feel like there could be improvements, especially if you use counter drift. I feel like that's a stage where counter drift is going to take over. Okay, now for the last record, at least for this video, until I do the Crossworlds. SV is back again. The SV star, whatever. I didn't even try reading the last part of their name. It's probably not that hard to pronounce, but I honestly just didn't care to even read it. I'm sorry. But yeah, we have White Space, and they are using the same combo that Sonic was using on Wonder Museum, which is cool to see. It's interesting. I also didn't catch what car they were using, but this looks like a speed vehicle. I'm not 100% sure though. This could be a handle. I'll put it up on the screen in editing. But yeah, I like White Space. I think this is, like, one of those tracks that, like, changes a lot on the third lap, and I really like like, look at that snaking. That's beautiful. And, like, getting those ring boosts there. Counter drift is so good. One cool thing about this, I don't know if it's worth it, but when I was trying to time trial this track, I didn't, like, go all the way in. But on that first, like, turn, you can, like, go off the stage a little bit and trick and, like, land at the same spot on that first turn. It's really hard to explain, but if you've seen, like, the Mario Kart world records, if you think about, like, the first track in the game, on that first turn you can, like, go off the track and then spin. I'll put a clip up what I'm talking about, but you can do it there. And my stupid ass didn't save the replay, because when I was doing it, I didn't beat my world record on that attempt, because, like, I was just, oh, whatever. So I don't have the replay of me doing it, but you can do it there. It's possible. I've seen it with my own eyes. I'm not trying to lie. But yeah, pretty basic flying section, and then yeah, they go through here. In terms of the I want to see if they actually hit this. No, they don't even try going for that. It's not worth it. In terms of the time trial, The third lap is kind of more boring than the second lap. I don't know. I think the water section looks super cool. But yeah, decent world record. Cool to see the SV guy getting their records, getting their dues. And let me actually check what that was. No, that was a handling vehicle. But yeah, that's it for the world records. They're not really as impressive as I thought that some of them were gonna be. There were some standouts. Coral Town, that was sick. That was very, very cool. And again, I want to keep a watch on that Omega on Eggman Expo. Hey, don't shoot the messenger. Well, actually do shoot the messenger. But I think, I don't know, it's a little bit suspicious. But if you like that, like, subscribe, whatever. I'll be doing the Crossroads either tomorrow or in a couple days. I can't promise anything. But yeah, if you like Crossworlds, I'll be doing more Crossworlds shit, whatever.